Welcome back to KTN Prime. I'm Robinson Okenya. I want us to get into a conversation tonight on the state of law, and joining me to talk about that is the Law Society of Kenya Vice President Kabata Mwaura. Good to have you on the show.
Asante.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Today was the International Men's Day.
Yes.
You celebrated that?
You got a haircut.
I thought it's No Shave November.
My beards are intact. I got a haircut.
You got a haircut.
Yes.
Before we get into our conversation tonight, I want us to look at what Kenyans will be reading in tomorrow's newspaper. That is the Standard and Real State of Nation. Before we get into our conversation, I want your input on this, the Real State of Nation, and its pledges and priorities. Kenyans have spoken. They do not need another ritual of promises. They need a state of the nation that starts with life, where life is actually lived, in the insecurity, in the hunger, the shattered services, and the daily grind of 13 million households. I mean, if somebody asked you, Kabata, where were we?
As a nation, we are economically sort of promising, but the impact is not felt by the people of Kenya. And when I say the people of Kenya, I mean those who struggle on a day-to-day to make ends meet.
Yes.
And even that middle class that resonates with hand to mouth. So to say that they do not have the requisite saving capability. And so where we are as a country, in a very honest perspective, is there were promises that were made in the run-up to the 2022 elections, and the expectations that were there probably did not resonate with the long-term promise. They had expected that the promise would be felt in a short-term basis. And so a majority of Kenyans, in fact, are extremely disappointed, if not at a state of despair. And I know many will share this sentiment that if a census was taken in Kenya on the current state of life, many would wish an alternative will happen. That alternative, I do not know it in expressing my sentiments probably as a lawyer, but even as lawyers, we feel that economic pinch as we head into the festivities. There's nothing that is really, inspirational about it. You will sense that probably right now you'll be planning a holiday, or planning how you will finalize the year. But personally, I'll be in Nairobi. I will not be traveling. So a majority of Kenyans share the sentiments that I do, that it is not easy to do extra which comes with an economic impetus. So we tend to always live within the means that we can.
I know Kenyans will be listening to the president's speech tomorrow.
Yes.
And definitely they want to hear about public finances, the economy, security, governance, and service delivery, as well as devolution. And they'll want to also hear what he has to say about corruption. Anything that you're looking forward to in his speech tomorrow?
If you cannot save more than what you spend or borrow, from the rudimentary economic principles of generating revenue and expending expenses, then left with a surplus. It's so simple. If you can't do that, if we are servicing debt close to everything that we collect, then how do you discuss questions as to improved healthcare? How do you discuss questions on alleviating poverty? Let's leave corruption first on the side, because it's a different gameplay altogether. But if we cannot sustain what we collect, then what are we talking about as an economic development agenda? It's really a no-brainer. If you spend more than what you generate over and above what you borrow, surely you'll have to be a complete magician to try and succeed. And doing one thing the same time and expecting a different result is the highest sense of stupidity, if I'm making sense.
Yes. Let's get into our conversation tonight. It's all about, the rule of law in the country. And what does it mean in Kenya today, the rule of law? Do we have people who are above the law? Do we have people who,
The rule of law is a very common and sometimes abused statement. It makes reference to a system of governance that is completely embraced in a set value system of norms.
Yes.
That if today I slapped you, there is a complete opposite legal reaction that is guaranteed, which means that once you commit either a wrong or you offend a principle of laws, for instance, as one aspect of what the rule of law entails, there is a complete set of guarantee that something will happen to you. So the rule of law entails many facets as to accountability of government. It entails lawmaking processes. It entails how governments are limited. It entails justice mechanisms. It entails adherence to the rule of law. It entails aspects of a separation of powers to define what can be done and what cannot be done. And remember, this power extends specifically in the constitutional question as to constitutionalism to what government can do for you and what government cannot do for you. And in the restrictive sense of what government cannot do for you, it does not say that government cannot do this. It actually prohibits certain acts by government that you cannot arbitrarily arrest someone without presenting them in court. You cannot, condone a system where the environment is extremely ripe with extrajudicial killings and things like that. We are looking at a possibility that I'm seeing the news echoing reports that now the ministry, the treasury, wants to cut down on ghost employees who get paid in many government parastatals. The rule of law in its natural sense, when operating in a conducive environment, then leads to certain guaranteed results. And if you look at good democracies, if you look at Japan, if you look at Sweden, if you look at Norway, you see how it works. It has an infusion on human value and the structure of how you develop as a human being to understand and underscore the value system in society. Yes.
And since the 2010 Constitution, personally, how can you say, or rather, what are some of the major progresses that we've made as a country?
Off my head is devolution. In its conceptual framework, it has worked entirely in a beautiful way to bring government services at a grassroots level and with greater impact, even though we had the structure of government where governance was devolved in municipalities. Devolution in its main concept has brought services closer to the people. It has demystified governance. Also, public finance management is a constitutional chapter that has introduced new mechanisms of how public finances are managed and administered, and also the concept about independence of government arms and the interdependence of those government arms then generate a conversation about how effective governance is done, but also the Bill of Rights under the 2010 Constitution is a particular facet that must interest many because it has progressively allowed the human rights regime to breathe fresh air of hope from public participation, from rights of communities and indigent communities in that sake, from environmental rights. In fact, the Constitution of Kenya echoes the Ecuadorian constitution that almost mimics environmental rights as first-party rights, that the environment in itself is life, that trees don't grow in an abstract fashion, that a tree has life.
Yes.
And so because of that, the Constitution expands the normative constitutional human rights discourse to a very progressive and pragmatic approach that allows those that are mandated to interpret and enforce the Constitution to give even more room for their application and lesser environments for their limitation. Yes.
Let me ask you something that we've we've seen for some time on social media, people normally talk about it a lot. Is the judiciary independent? From your own perspective.
I was in a forum today with the Chief Justice, and I know she may not really enjoy this, but the truth of the matter is there are many ways that, or rather there have been attempts. Let me answer it by saying there have been attempts to ensure that the judiciary is not independent, including on budgetary issues. And currently, I know the judiciary is currently constrained with resources from Treasury, and even though they have the judiciary fund, there are many limitations that have been put on that fund. Well, let me be honest that in an environment where the judiciary is absolutely independent,
yes,
any excessive or any autocratic executive will become uncomfortable. So if you look at the relationship between how the judiciary and the executive work, they are not supposed to be antagonistic to each other because they are both bearded sisters.
Yes.
But they are supposed to be working in a way that complements each other's function. Now, when you see the judiciary issue orders and the government, or rather the executive arm of government, does not comply to those orders, or there is a distinction between orders that are issued by the judiciary and then the executive arm of government interprets them differently,
yes,
then outrightly you can read that probably there is a way that an uncomfortable relationship may be brewing between the executive arm of government and the judicial arm of government. But we are not at the point where we are saying that the judiciary is completely captured. No.
There's something that you mentioned when we began this conversation, and you said that the Constitution has the Constitution has breathed in that air of hope when it comes to human rights, and we've seen human rights violations in the country. Do you ever feel that those people that endured that will ever get justice?
The beauty about human rights and the aspect on justice is that justice does not foresee a scenario where a wrong will be suffered without a right. That even though time may pass, a time will come when justice will again relieve the moment where the wrong was committed. So even though certain rights are being infringed upon currently, if you talk about political rights for those who protest, if you talk about environmental rights for those third-party right activists who intend to protect the environment. And as we speak about this, there is an ongoing challenge as to whether the development that is currently undergoing within Masai Mara is justified. And even when the court issued the gag order against the Masai elder who is speaking about these infractions, the baseline effect is that the atrocities that were committed by the post-colonial government in the 40s and the 50s found its way to pave a mechanism for justice in the 20th century all the way to the 21st century. So it means that justice does not suffer the affluence of time. It will still catch up with you. And the earlier it catches up with you, the better, because at a particular time when it catches up with you and you do not have the time resource or the economic resource, then it may apply in a different way which may not be comfortable with you. So I give that message of hope. I say it doesn't matter how long it happens, but it will happen.
Yes, and LSK, you've been on the forefront in trying to fight for justice for these victims. And I mean, sometimes they say it's the hope that kills. You hold on to the hope that at least something will happen, but it ends up not happening.
Someone must do this work. It is not a state of despondency. Someone must do this work. And I keep on saying this metaphor that even morticians have rights. And so if the structures within government that are intended to address these issues are not doing it, then the Law Society always comes in to step in because it has a statutory mandate to assist members of the public in matters that are antecedent or ancillary to law.
Yes.
And so it's not a one-off. The Law Society is a living institution in Kenya. And so even probably after the term of this council is done and the membership of the Law Society goes to the next plebiscite, it will be possible to proceed with these discussions, especially now that we are facing the 2027 elections, the national elections in Kenya.
Yes.
Yes.
And let's talk about, this year alone we've seen extrajudicial killings, police brutality. Today there's a report that came out by Amnesty International that said that, almost 128 people died during the Gen Z protests. And what are your thoughts about if we should be heading into the right direction and emulating the countries that you mentioned? How do we move away from this?
We started off very well by discussing what the rule of law is. If we applied what the rule of law tenets confer, we would avoid all these incidences that we are seeing. Remember, a young Kenyan was picked up in Migori healthy, transferred to Nairobi healthy, died in a police cell.
Yes.
A place where you are supposed to be guaranteed not only of your safety, but of your well-being, under the hands of those who are supposed to guarantee you and protect you. And to date, nothing has happened. We hear there are police officers who are being remanded, but the main culprit, in fact, I am informed, was reinstated into his current office. So it is, to me, a national shame if we find the environment that we are living in conducive. It is not conducive. It is extremely toxic, and probably we have also become part of that toxicity that we do not see how we can get ourselves out of it. If we embrace systems that are working, if we embrace institutional support for government, different arms of government, if we support the independence of the judiciary, if we support the functioning of an independent constitutional bodies as well as parliament, the executive needs not worry about how they will run government. It will become a seamless relationship of doing what is right for the benefit of the Kenyan public. But if that does not happen, we are living it right now. This is where we are. You don't promise yourself, and we are in fact even exporting these bad manners to our sister countries that have never recorded such incidences. Tanzania currently held its elections. You saw what happened there. The reports are quite appalling. It is wrong to say that the deaths that happened in Tanzania, and I heard the sentiments of the president in that country saying they were not Tanzanians.
They are foreigners.
How does that, how does that make it any better if that were true? But of course, as Kenya, we have been leading in bad behavior, and you see where we are heading right now. Even with the report that you're now citing, you will note that nothing or no action has been taken, even as the panel of experts that will constitute the compensation model is running. There are still mechanisms of accountability, and those who in fact perpetrate human rights violations against Kenyans, and those who take life, maim and injure Kenyans can be done within the legal framework that we have. We have a penal code, for heaven's sake. If you injure someone, if you assault someone, whether you're a police officer, if you injure a member of the Kenyan public, there is a mechanism for redress. It is within our criminal justice system. And that is something that institutions like IPOA should be taking up. It is something that institutions like the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights should be taking up, and all other bodies that are conferred with the mandate to carry out such support systems.
Somebody has just asked me to ask you something real quickly, because we're almost wrapping up. Do you support the inclusion of the Constitution into the Kenyan curriculum? That's what kindly asked Kabata Kabata on his thoughts on having the Constitution being part of the school curriculum?
I think what should be part of the discourse in the school curriculum should be the ethos of the Constitution. The ethos of the Constitution is the heart of the Constitution, which is Article 10, the national values and principles of governance. You know, that alone, if we embedded that as an ethical value into our educational system, that education is not about competing for who is the best student. The best students have never made the best leaders. The best students have never made, sorry to say, probably I was not the best student, but they've never made impactful world, impactful world moments. And so our education system is meant to regurgitate memory, your ability to cram and regurgitate it for an examiner to evaluate you as either having understood that concept or not, but understanding and cramming are totally different things.
Yes.
And so if you would ask me as a response, I will say let's start with the ethical value of what the Constitution entails, so that probably not in our lifetime, but in the lifetime of those who pursue the study of constitutional ethics, they will be able to see the bigger picture above and beyond ethnic bigotry, financial elasticity, corruption, the get-rich mentality. They can see the bigger picture that, in fact, you can be able to attend to a hospital facility, whether you are in Mathare, whether you are in Karen, whether you are in Runda, whether you are in Nyari, you can attend to a medical facility with the only identifying factor that you're a Kenyan. You can be able to attend to an educational system, you can be able to attend to social amenities such as sports facilities, such as social events where you can grow dynamically into a holistic human being within the Kenyan community. Sadly, that is not where we are. We are in the extreme reverse.
Thank you very much, Kabata Mwaura, who's the Vice President at the Law Society of Kenya, for finding time tonight to come to talk to us about the rule of law. I know this is not a conversation that we can just finish in 30 minutes of sitting. Of course, we'll organize again. You come and we continue with this talk. But unfortunately, that is where we wrap up KTN Prime tonight. My name is Robinson Okenye. Have a good night.